So, Kieran, the PM woke up in Seattle to news that the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer was deploying jets to the Middle East, and he wouldn't rule out helping Israel in the war with Iran. But the Australian Prime Minister did rule that out. He said that wouldn't be occurring. When he gets to the G7, he'll be meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, the Japanese leader, the German leader. But the most important meeting by far is that with Donald Trump. But he was keen to talk trade here and the importance of the economic relationship between Australia and America. He attended Amazon this morning. They said they were going to spend $20 billion on renewable energy and data centres in Australia, renewable energy to power the data centres. That led to a few questions because Matt Garman, their CEO, has previously said you need nuclear energy to have those data centres up and running in different countries. But it really does shape now as a huge week for the PM and Australia.
It is. Andrew, thank you. Live from Seattle. Let's bring in Industry and Innovation Minister Tim Ayres back home now. Minister, thanks for your time. Let's start with that thing Andrew spoke about of the Amazon investment. Why is that so significant as part of our, not just, the cloud picture and the web services, but when it comes to AI as well?
Well, certainly that investment on its own is very significant for Australia's digital infrastructure investment. And as you say, in terms of future investment in AI data centre capacity, it is a pointer to part of the future for Australia. Australia has very significant advantages in energy terms, in terms of the space that we have, in terms of the proximity to the largest growing market in the world, a Five Eyes secure country. So there is very significant scope to seize on these kind of investments that give Australia a beachhead in the new global digital economy. This is absolutely in our economic interest. Absolutely in our security and broader geopolitical interest in a fast-moving and less secure world, but it also critically secures, as the Treasurer and the Prime Minister have indicated, this new wave of technological reform and progress is an enormous opportunity for Australia, not just in growth terms, but also in productivity terms.
We are obviously all hopeful that AI adds to our standard of living, to our economies, to productivity and all that comes with it, not take away jobs. But there are concerns around AI much broader than that. Is the government cognizant of those risks when it comes to AI and determined to ensure appropriate governance is implemented when it comes to this burgeoning industry?
Well, the short answer is yes, Kieran. Secondly, if I can give you a slightly longer answer, where we start from as a government is that it's in Australia's interest to lean into the opportunity, to lean into investment in digital infrastructure terms, so data centres, but also in the technologies themselves, and also in diffusing this technology through Australian workplaces and Australian industry so that we secure the productivity and competitiveness advantage. You're right. Every wave of technology brings disruption and disruption to the labour market in particular. So we have to attend to those. I just say to you that the most disruptive thing in terms of the labour market and Australia's competitive position would be to step back from these developments, to not engage, and to have and to be late adopters or second adopters of this kind of technology. Yeah. If Australia is going to shape the world that we're in and shape the future digital economy, we must have a stake in it, and we must be makers of the technology as well as takers of the technology. I don't want Australia to end up in a position where at the bottom end of somebody else's supply chain. I want Australia to be leading in this area in infrastructure terms as well as adoption terms.
These are live pictures from Washington. Our viewers can see them on the screen there now, and it's quite something. The parade for the US Army, and coinciding with Donald Trump's birthday, we've had confirmed the Prime Minister will meet President Trump on Tuesday in Canada, Wednesday our time. It sounds to me that this focus on the economic relationship and the Amazon meeting really designed to remind President Trump of how embedded Australia is in our economic relationship with the United States, and through that free trade agreement to say, look, it's not just about putting walls up, that engagement and trade, free trade, is what we need to embrace, Tim as. Is that true? Is that part of the design of that meeting with Amazon ahead of the G7?
Well, the announcement's not designed to secure that objective, but it certainly, as you say, does underscore the depth of the economic and strategic and technological relationship. You know, it's not just about trading in goods and services, it's about collaboration around science and research and development and in industrial terms. So there is enormous potential in the digital economy. Of course, you see AUKUS offering opportunities for Australian and United States firms, not just to trade in terms of goods and services, but to invest in each other's economy. And that is a real counterpoint to the position that the United States has adopted around tariff announcements. They are not the act of a friend, as has been said repeatedly by me and my colleagues. They are not in Australia's interest, but they're not in the United States' interest either. Australian steel, for example, exported to the United States, feeds into American supply chains and supports competitive industry that provides good jobs for American workers. Why on earth would anybody want to make Australian steel in the United States more expensive? That's what the tariff measures do. So we'll be, and the Prime Minister will be representing that position directly to the President of the United States, as Ambassador Rudd and all of us as ministers have been doing. We'll continue to do that calmly and consistently. But the Amazon announcement does underscore how vital the direct economic relationship really is.
How important is it that that meeting has been confirmed now, that the Prime Minister will meet President Trump and start to build that personal relationship, that rapport, which we know can be pivotal, not just with presidents of yesteryear, but particularly with Donald Trump?
The first thing to say is it's not unusual for these kind of meetings to be confirmed, you know, on the run. There's an enormous amount of you know, logistics and challenge that go into these international meetings. It's an important discussion, but it's just one of the discussions that the Prime Minister will be having with G7 leaders from around the world, with Canada, with the United Kingdom, and more broadly with Japan. So it is an important opportunity. The Prime Minister's already had quite a few direct. You know, we are a long way away physically, Kieran, from the United States. He's had a series of direct and very, very cordial discussions with the President of the United States. I'd expect that to be, you know, that's what will continue. It'll be a useful discussion. It'll be an opportunity for the Prime Minister to represent Australia's interests in the way that he does in all of his international engagements, in the Australian national interest. So we'll see that occur.
It does come at
the G7 is
a tricky time.
It's a much broader discussion. Yeah.
I want to ask you, just finally though, we've seen the unrest on the streets. You got the chaos in the Middle East. There's a lot happening, but specifically to you as a member of our parliament, the latest example of political violence in the United States, a Minnesota politician and her husband assassinated, and another politician and his partner recovering, thankfully, it looks like in hospital. But this is it is quite shocking, isn't it, when you see the level of political violence that is carried out in the United States, not the least of which that assassination attempt recently against the president himself.
Well, it's a shocking development. I don't want to commentate on the actual events themselves, still unfolding, but absolutely horrifying. It's terrible, this kind of political violence when it happens anywhere around the world. Obviously, Australians are watching what is happening there with concern. And it's a reminder, isn't it, about how important and precious our own democracy is. That the Australian way that we do things here is absolutely crucial and should be treasured and protected and nurtured. And we've all got a responsibility there. I mean, this is this act of violence in the United States has been perpetrated by the man who committed it. But it is a reminder about how important and precious our democracy is and our political culture is, and all of us in the Parliament and beyond should be working every day to protect it.
Industry and Innovation Minister Tim Ayres, thanks for your time this Sunday. Appreciate it.